They whine, they cry, oh my God, you sent me the wrong thing. Well, this is Dave on the Crafted channel. We got some rusty rims to paint. They're really in pretty decent shape. Got them all cleaned up. These are off our 67 Airstream International. And I'm going to get new tires for it because I like light truck tires for trailers. I hate trailer tires. So these things are like new, but I don't know, they're probably 20 years old, but they've got almost no miles on them. So I'll be able to sell these, maybe get 50 bucks for the pair, which will be a discount on the new light truck tires for the trailer. Meanwhile, I need to clean up the rims and paint them while I got the old tires on it. Here's a drill that I own. And I remember a company called Win used to make a drill like this. And I don't remember how much it was. But I ran across this copy. I don't know if it's a copy or there was some story behind these. Maybe it was the exact drill sold under another name at a cheaper price. And I bought one many years ago. I just looked online and I don't see these anymore in any brand. And I've never used this drill or opened the package. So here's the instructions. We don't need those. Here's the drill. Man, it feels great. Cut key. Even comes with an extra set of brushes. Hope I never need them. Yeah, bam, bam. You're awful interesting. Normally using one of these attachments on an ordinary drill, it's way out from you, and every time you touch something, it's jerking the drill out of your hand. So I think this is a perfect drill for this. Let's see how it works. Oh yeah. Oops. Still wants to run away with you. Looking good. One more to do. Brake clean is an excellent way to dry and degrease something. Taking the green Scotch-Brite pad, my black paint, I'm going to put a second coat on. This will knock off any high spots or little grits or bumps that are left over and make the wheel look a lot smoother. And it'll help me with adhesion between coats. And after this second coat gets dry, we're going to go buy some new tires. These little grooves in here are a little bit hard to get to, but a Scotch-Brite pad is pretty formable. This will be covered up by Baby Moon hubcap if I get my way. One way of getting a really beautiful finish on a on something like this, and I've done it before in other projects at work when I was a kid working in and around a body shop, is you do alternate coats of gray, and you do gray primer and then lightly sand it, and I would consider this lightly sanding it, and then you do red primer and sand it, gray and sand it, red and sand it, and then the opposite color stays in the low spots, and you slowly fill up the low spots, little rust pits and things like that, and you end up with a flat mirror-like finish. Maybe we'll do that on a future project. When I was taught that, we were doing it on a truck bumper. That should protect these for, what, about another 40 years from rust? Next thing's tires. Well, we have a problem, NASA. Maybe you can see there's a rub mark right to about right here. I can't get the wheel all the way on. It should be going on to about right here. And my problem is, my wheel is about 2 inches 625. This is 2 inches 626, about right there. It needs to come back to here. Well, this is 2 inches, about 2 inches 650, maybe a little more, 2 inches 655. So that's another 30 thousandths. This is 30 thousandths too large. I started out by cleaning the paint off of the inside of this, thinking that might be my problem. Then I used these calipers here to measure it, these inside calipers. And you can see here, perhaps, how much too large, there we go, how much too large the hub is. So if we come into this and measure it, we can see our hole here is about 2 inches 625. So we're about 25 to 35 too big on the spindle. The spindle's all made into the brake drum here. This is all one piece. So I can take this off, drive the studs out, and we can have this machined to 2 inches 625. And I should be able to do this on my own lathe, but the problem is I only have a 10-inch lathe running, and this drum, we can see the number on here somewhere. Alco 8500 drum. Oh, it says maximum diameter 10 inches 090. Well, that's the ID. So this thing is larger than that. So it's really probably 11 and a half inches. I have a my 12-inch Craftsman that I'm restoring, which I could mount this on, but of course it's all tore apart. I have another 12-inch Craftsman You might have seen it in the back of the truck. I called it desert camo because of the, or desert tan because of the color that it's painted. And that lathe I've partially taken apart to inspect it and clean it, and I could put it back together enough to do this machining, but I could have come up with a way to hold this. So I might have to make some turn parts and come up with some kind of assembly. So right now I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do that, or if it's worth doing. Probably I should just run these to a machine shop and pay somebody to do it so I can get my project moving forward. I hate to put this lathe back together before I'm ready to put it back together, just to do this one job. So that's a problem we're facing here. Now I don't know whether this is machined poorly or whether it was ordered wrong. It could have just been ordered wrong. Seems like an unusual size though. Why would they make a hub to that weird increment? 2 inches 625 seems rational, but 2 inches 660 or 655 seems like something silly. So not sure what's actually happened here. Here we are in front of my Desert Tan Atlas QC42 or Craftsman lathe here. Now I've had this lathe tore apart. It needs some repairs, including I've got a busted gear here. I just did this, but this half nut lever was in terrible shape, so I ordered a new one, or good used one. I'm missing these parts in the tailstock. I just been working on that. So this is a partial lathe right now. It'll be a really nice lathe when I get done. And I got this lathe so that I could get this leg set and refinish it for my red Atlas lathe, which was one of my earlier video series. I hope to get back on that lathe sometime soon. So when I sell this lathe, it'll go without the stand, because I'm looking for that classic combination. Now this lathe's pretty nice. Not enough about the lathe. My spindles, which have the drum made onto them for the Airstream trailer, the bearing snout on the outside that centers the wheel up when you put the steel wheel up onto the studs is bigger than the hole in the wheels. And the hole in the wheels is 2 5/8 inches. The hole in the snout, the bearing snout on the spindle, is about 40 thousandths bigger than that. I think, and it looks like it's as cast. So I don't think that these were machined. I think that these are parts that they made a mistake on. It could be that somebody sent me the wrong thing in error, but I think somebody made a mistake. Now here's a shaft, and I'm thinking about turning that diameter down to the right size. Now a lot of people, when they get something wrong in the mail, this was delivered by truck, not in the mail, but they whine, they cry, oh my God, you sent me the wrong thing. Well, I got a lathe, I can fix this problem, and I don't have to spend 2 or 3 or 4 weeks and 50 phone calls arguing with anybody at the company and none of that stuff. I can just fix it. So rather than being a whiner, I'm just going to fix it and leave it be at that. Now I have to get this drum on a center so that I can turn the bearing housing down to fit my wheels. And I happen to have this shaft here that I got with the South Bend Workshop lathe, which I haven't, I've done a back of the truck video but haven't done any work on it yet. But this was in the scrap metal. This nut is welded on down here. And if this is straight, then I can make a mandrel out of it. And it does seem to be straight within about 1.5 thou or 2 thou. And some of this, you see the needle moving around a lot, even though I'm not turning the shaft very many degrees. This is really a straight shaft. I think this came from, this is a ground shaft. You can tell by looking at the surface here. This was probably involved in some hydraulic operation or something, hydraulic cylinder or something like that. So I think I'm going to be pretty good with this shaft. It seems to hover, it seems to be at least within 1 thou. It's got a few marks on it which the needle bounces around over. But I can make a mandrel out of this part here. And how I'm going to do it, this end of the shaft has threads. I'm going to make a couple of cones so that I can squeeze together and grab the spindle. Now the brake drum is made onto the spindle, so it's about 11 and 11.5 inches in diameter, and that's necessitating why I've had to put this lathe back together before I've had a chance to make all the repairs to it that I want. This is the closest thing I have to a functioning 12-inch lathe. So I'm going to transfer tooling and stuff to this lathe, get this lathe running, and see if I can't make this repair to these spindles so I can get the wheels on my Airstream and be done with it. It seems like every time I get into a project it takes a long time to finish. But at least I have the capability of doing it. Now you'll notice that I don't have two matched V-blocks. I've raised this one up just by putting a file under it, and it wouldn't matter if they were like this because this location is fixed, and if the shaft is straight it doesn't really matter whether it's perfectly level or not. We still get good readings. So this is going to be the basis of my project, and I had to have some kind of shaft or make some kind of shaft to do it. I think this shaft will do. I may end up cutting this shaft off. I don't know. The nut's kind of nice. The fact that it's threaded on both ends. What I don't like is how long the shaft is, which could give me some flex. But I'll concentrate my work at one end of the shaft or the other so I get a minimum amount of flex. And I'll make my two cones that go on here. And I'll have some tubes. And then I'll run a nut and a washer up against the tube to squeeze it all tight onto the spindle assembly, or the hub assembly off the trailer. And this is a basis for me to make that jig. So let's get busy and make the jig. Check it out, I have this in my 3-jaw chuck. I'm turning it the wrong way, of course. And I have it within a few tenths. That's soft. So this jaw here is the hardest. Come around here and move it a little bit. Oh my goodness, what is he doing? Giving away a secret. Look at that. Now this shaft isn't perfectly round, but I'd say I have it within a few tenths. If you just kind of take the average readings there. So now I can center drill it. Oh, I don't like that. Remember, this is welded in the middle. I flattened it as well as I thought I should. That's not what I meant to do. So let's put work on the center a little more. May have just broke my tool bit. Yep. See if we can center drill it now. There we go. The wobble's out of the chuck. This is a fairly hard shaft. Not touching anything. I'm just going to take it really easy. That ought to give me a lot of contact area for my live center. See if we get lucky again. That's soft, softer, hard. Hard, soft, softer, hard. It's a little hard on this jaw. In front of this jaw we're 0. This jaw we're soft by 1, soft by half. Means we're a little hard here still. Really what I'm doing is moving the scroll around in its play in the back. There we go. 0. Couple tenths hard. 0. Right around 0 there. I think that's good enough. Good enough for centering up a trailer tire. Some top secret UFO secrets there I'm giving away. Email me privately and you can send me a PayPal for reward for whatever that was worth to you. Didn't have to put my 4-jaw chuck on. Let's put this center in. Don't want to break the tip of my center drill off. Plenty of lube and take my time. Now we're getting into the taper. We'll make one more light touch off with that clean. We're good. Now to make some cones.